Hey everyone, this is Raspberry Rock and I'm Russell. Welcome back. It is a beautiful, chilly fall morning here. The colors are still in full swing and it's just a gorgeous time to be outside and doing stuff. I get contacted quite often by companies looking for product reviews for their products, and I gotta say 99% of the time I turn them down because they're just not appropriate for like off-grid cabin life or pretty much anything that I'm doing here. But then a little while ago, a company called Jackery contacted me and said, hey, would you like to review our 500 watt hour power station? So I did some quick research and looked it up and I said, hell yeah, I do. This is perfect for this kind of lifestyle. Now Jackery is a company that makes products like power stations. They also make solar panels that you can purchase separately to go with your power stations if you want. They also do the little power packs for the little small ones that you can take pretty much anywhere and charge your cell phone or whatever you want with it. Really pretty neat. This is, as I said, the 500 watt hour power station. When they first offered it to me, I said absolutely, I do want to review that. And then I took a look at the website and I said, oh, you've got solar panels that you can purchase to go with them. I said, yeah, I got to have those as well. And at first they said, oh, no, we can't really do that right now. Technical details or something. And I said, oh, come on. They said, okay, we'll send those to you. Although it did take a while for them to figure out their process. Yeah, so this is the Jackery power station. Just a little bit before we get going, I'm not being paid for this review, but they did send me, of course, the equipment for free. And I also am a bit of a solar power professional. I owned my own company for 5 years. So I do sort of know what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. And not to mention I've got this full-size system on my cabin. So what would you use a power station like this for? Well, that's a good question, Russell. I think it would be perfect for any kind of off-grid cabin life or any cottage scenario where you don't have power at your cottage. I think it would be great for car camping. I don't think it would be great for like, week-long trips in the forest. Unless you say you were going in a couple of kilometers from the road, setting up a base camp, and then doing your daily hikes from your base camp, then it might be appropriate. But otherwise, you're not going to take this for long journeys through the wilderness. Why, you might ask? Well, it's about 13 pounds. And some of you might say, I could easily do that. I could carry that a long way. And it's the form factor is really nice. It's about the size of a toaster, which is perfect. I've seen them a lot bigger than this. But it's just a little on the heavy side to be going, 10 kilometers through the wilderness, and it's not rated to be rained on or anything like that, so it's got to be kept covered up and things like that. So now this power station has a lithium battery inside. It's a 500 watt hour battery. It's got lots of ways for you to charge your devices, which is great. It's also got on the side a little light. You probably can't see it because we're in direct sunlight right here. But that's kind of a nice little side bonus. And that's pretty much it. It's a beautifully contained unit. And I gotta say, I like the solar panel as well. They've got little Velcro things here to stand them up, and it's got a little pouch on the back, and they just fold open like that, and you can stand them up, which is really neat. So what's on this thing exactly? First of all, other than the light that's on the side, which is really cool, you've got an input here. Now there are 3 ways to charge this power station. One is just, it comes with an adapter, a 12 volt adapter, so you can plug it in at home. Say you're going to your cottage and you want to use, you need power for the weekend, plug it in at home, charge it up, and take it there. You can charge it up, so you can charge up AC at home. You can also charge it up by the car volt adapter. Or you can use solar panels if you want to go with the extra option, which is kind of nice if you're going to spend a week at your cabin. You might run out of power here. You would like to charge it up every day when there's beautiful sunshine. Gosh, that's really nice. So 3 ways to charge it up. Now, other than that, you've got a beautiful display here, which shows you the percentage of power you have left. It also shows you how much wattage is going out or wattage coming in from your panels. And the battery level, it gives you a nice little battery level display, which is really nice. Other than that, it's also got a power button for each of the different ways that you will charge. So you can turn your 12 volt on and off, you can turn your USB ports on and off, you can turn your AC on and off, which is kind of neat. So if you have something plugged in, you don't want to use that, you don't want it charging anymore and you don't want to unplug it, you just turn the power off on that one. Now it is a lithium battery inside, so you should be able to use it right down to 0. They say, hey, if it goes below 20%, start charging it again. I can totally understand that, but it should be safe to go below 20. In fact, I did confirm that with my contact at Jackery. As I said, you've got a 12-volt port. You've got 3 USB ports. They're all 5-volt. They're 2.4 amps. The AC is 110, and you can go up to you can put up to a 500-watt load on this as well. It does have a surge protection inside in case you go over that. What's also inside here is an inverter, because it's a 12-volt battery inside. If you're going to AC, you need an inverter convert to AC, which is nice. The only downside, and it's a small downside, if you're using the AC and you're using any amount of real wattage on there, there's a little fan that comes on to cool down the inverter. And it's not very noisy at all. You can barely notice it. It's the kind of thing where if you're watching your TV late at night, you might want to just stick this behind a chair when you're plugged in. That's the only thing. And it doesn't stay on all the time. It'll come on every few minutes or so for a little bit. I do recommend getting one of these little power meters. What it does is you plug this into an ordinary socket, and you can plug it in here, and then plug whatever your device is into here. And then you can see how much wattage you're using on this display, as well as how much wattage the power station is using. And what you'll find is the power station will show you using a little bit more energy than the meter, and I think that's because there's a loss of power going through the inverter. There's not much, but it's also why I would suggest, you know, if you're going to watch a TV, or if you're going to buy a TV and watch it and use the power station to watch it, buy a 12-volt TV. You can get them, they make them for RVs and stuff. That way you can just plug that into the 12-volt supply here, and you'll get just a little bit more life out of your battery. Speaking of the battery, I'm going to go, like, I haven't thoroughly tested like all of these devices because it would take forever. I do know that I watched my TV for several hours last night, and it was fine. It went down to about 80%, and I thought, wow, this is great. I could watch my TV for a long time. And another reason to have a power meter too is that my TV is rated for 1.5 amps at 120 volts, which, you know, is around 120 watts, a little bit more. But on the power meter it was only showing 32 watts the whole time. So there's a lot of depending things, like what actually are you watching on your TV, how loud have you got the volume turned up, and I found typically I'm using about 32 watts. So that's going to last a lot longer than, you know, something that's actually running at 100 watts, right? So they give some examples of what you can do with a 500 watt-hour battery. They say you can recharge your laptop 7 times. You can run a mini fridge for 8 hours, 8+ hours. You can recharge your smartphone for 34+ times. That's pretty amazing. And when you put it together with a solar panel system like this, you're going to get tons and tons of power. This is going to last, I don't know, as long as you're careful with your power usage, you can get by with this kind of solution for weeks, you know, in my opinion. And even if you couldn't, say you've got a cabin where you typically run your generator for your power usage. Well, if you run low on this, or you run out of power on this, and you got to run your generator anyway, plug this into your generator and charge this while you're running your generator, which is a fantastic solution. And then next day you're back to your power station as your full-time power needs. So I actually haven't plugged the solar panels in yet to the station. The one thing you're going to want to do if you get the panels, this is like dead simple. This is like the simplest thing ever. Like, you don't need to know hardly anything to run this. This is, you know, you plug it in, it goes. They've got one cable for the solar panel and the power station. This is me doing this for the first time. I don't even know where to plug it in. Oh, here we go. Well, that's kind of cool too. The solar panel actually has a USB port on it, 2 different USB. It looks like standard USB and then USB-C. And then there's something else down here. Oh, there we go. There's the connection. So I'm going to go red to red, black to black. Wow, is that ever easy? And the little power light comes on, the little charging light comes on, and I'm getting input 60 watts, 62 watts. Am I getting any shade on it? 64 watts. I might be one of the things you learn about solar panels is you don't really want to block any of the cells. You block even one cell and it affects the whole thing. You're putting resistance on the whole thing. That's something I'll have to play with. This is a 100 watt panel, set of panels. They do make different sizes. And one of the things you really want to do is, if you're charging throughout the day, you want to aim your panels directly at the sun, and the sun's going to move across the sky. So get out there and turn your panels every so often to make sure you're straight on to the sun. And make sure nothing is blocking them. My clotheslining. In fall, you gotta watch out for leaves. Anyway guys, thanks for joining along. As I said earlier, check the description below if you're looking for links to the company, the products. I know there's a $100 discount code for the Canadian power station. I'm not sure about the solar panels. I gotta figure out what the discount codes are for the US, or if it's just on sale right now and you don't need the code, which would mean now would be the time to buy. Yeah, and I'll see you again in the next video. Peace out, everybody.